The Harry Potter series has captivated millions around the world and is widely hailed as the most successful series of fictional books ever written. The story centers around a young wizard named Harry, who, as an infant, had his parents taken away from him in a malicious attack by the dark wizard named Voldemort. Voldemort proceeded to attempt to murder Harry as well, but, by some strange circumstance, Harry survived, and Voldemort was left in a state of near death. The primary conflict throughout the series centers around Voldemort's attempt to recover from this debilitating injury and complete his ultimate goals of murdering Harry and taking control of the wizard world. Most people do not wish to associate this popular fictional story with the atrocities observed during the Second World War, but the similarities between the two antagonistic villains, Lord Voldemort and Adolf Hitler, are striking. These striking similarities prompt one to consider the possibility that J.K. Rowling, author of the Harry Potter series, used Voldemort to symbolize Adolf Hitler. The first parallel that can be drawn between Hitler and Voldemort is their common belief in racial supremacy. Voldemort thought that purebloods, or people from all magic families, were superior to those whose ancestors were not all witches or wizards. Hitler believed the Aryan race, which generally included people with blonde hair and blue eyes, was superior to all other ethnicities. In an excerpt from the second book in the series, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Voldemort says,
"Surely you didn't think I was going to keep my filthy Muggle father's name? No. I fashioned myself a new name, a name I knew wizards everywhere would one day fear to speak when I became the greatest sorcerer in the world."
This quote proves that Voldemort was ashamed to be associated with Muggles, and, likewise, proves his belief in their inferiority to wizards. Hitler expressed his belief of supremacy through a different medium than that used by Voldemort. In his book called Mein Kampf, Hitler writes,
"All human culture, all the results of art, science, and technology, are almost exclusively the creative product of the Aryan. He is the Prometheus of mankind, from whose bright forehead the divine spark of genius has sprung at all times, forever kindling anew the fire of knowledge, which illuminated the night of silent mysteries, and thus caused man to climb the path to mastery over the other beings of this earth."
This quote clearly proves Hitler's belief that Aryans are the ideal race of human beings, as he refers to the Aryan people as being the Prometheus of mankind. To note, Prometheus was a titan and a culture hero in the society of ancient Greece, so this is no small compliment coming from Hitler. The second common characteristic shared between these two villains is their action of persecuting the people they thought to be inferior. Hitler persecuted people of non-Aryan descent by putting them in concentration camps and killing them off one by one during World War II. The most persecuted of all non-Aryan people groups during this time were the Jewish people. It is estimated that 6 million European Jews were killed during the Holocaust. This amount accounted for 63% of the total Jewish population of Europe. Voldemort also persecuted people groups that he thought to be inferior. In the 7th book of the series, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Voldemort's followers, called Death Eaters, infiltrate the Ministry of Magic, the governing body over the magical world. He instructs his followers to implement a policy that requires all non-purebloods to undergo blood testing and sit through a hearing. If the witch or wizard in question does not have any wizards in their ancestry, then they are thrown in prison and allowed no contact with the outside world whatsoever. The third similarity between Hitler and Voldemort involves how they obtained their power. Both Hitler and Voldemort used an army to take control over their respective domains. Hitler took control over much of the European continent using a physically imposing army. By 1939, the Nazi army contained 1.4 million troops and it is estimated that approximately another 16 million German citizens were directly involved with the production of military goods. The following clip was taken from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 and is being used to prove the considerable size and strength of Voldemort's army.
Begin.
These two classic villains are so similar that even their respective followers shared common characteristics. Chief among the similarities between their followers was the characteristic of being loyal to the tyrants only out of fear for what would happen otherwise. In the cinematic hit, The Sound of Music, which is based on a true story, Mr. Von Trapp, head of the household, is seen here removing a Nazi flag from the front of his house, disgusted by the fact that it was there to begin with. However, Rolf, the mail delivery boy that Von Trapp's eldest daughter Liesel falls in love with, joins the Nazis and almost reveals the family's position to his officers while the family tries to flee Austria, despite his reciprocated feelings for Liesel. The only explanation for this action is fear. A similar phenomenon occurs in the fourth book of the series, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, when Wormtail admittedly returns to revive Voldemort only because of his fear for Voldemort's power.
There are signs, my slippery friend, and more than whispers.
I assure you, my lord, I have never renounced the old ways. The face I have been obliged to present each day since your absence. That is my true mask.
I returned out of fear, not loyalty.
Now, for those of you who are napping during the video and are just now waking up, here's a recap. The striking similarities between Lord Voldemort and Adolf Hitler prompt one to consider the possibility that J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, used Voldemort to symbolize Adolf Hitler. The common characteristics shared between Voldemort and Hitler included a belief in racial supremacy, the persecution of those they thought to be inferior, their militaristic ways of taking over, and their fearful followers.